Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. Great to have you here today. Looking forward to diving into our Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday topic of the week. And that is going over a very specific type of intermittent fasting that I personally do 3 to 4 times per month. And no, it is not just the 24-hour one-day reset diet. So let's go over that here today. It's been coined so many different names, but the most interesting name that I've heard before is actually called the monk fast. So the monk fast was given to this particular type of fast because it's been practiced for many thousands of years by monks all around the world. And no, it was not used for weight loss or even really longevity-based purposes, but actually for spirituality purposes. Now, you can use it for what you would like, but I will tell you that this particular fast will help with autophagy. Anything that helps with autophagy, which is cellular cleanup inside of the body, will actually help with balancing healthy levels of inflammation. So if you're dealing with joint issues or muscle issues or brain fog, whatever it might be, it could potentially help with that as well. Again, we're not giving you a treatment-based protocol for any diseases of the body, but lo and behold, when you begin to rebalance the body, amazing things do happen. And of course, we see that all around the world, not just, of course, here in Boston, Massachusetts. So what I want to share with you here is this, is that it's going to help you and it's going to enable your body to better balance healthy levels of inflammation, healthy levels of blood sugar. It's going to help with fat loss, so not just weight loss, but actual fat loss, cognitive improvement, something called brain-derived neurotropic factor, which I've talked about before, BDNF, and it's going to help with overall anti-aging longevity-based purposes. But there's a few caveats to it, so I want to walk you through all of that here today, not just tell you exactly what it is and then just go for it. A lot of these things with intermittent fasting actually have to be done fairly precisely, and the reason is that you want to maximize the benefits and not the potential downsides. So I've talked about this before. Potential downsides to fasting can be catabolism, higher levels of stress hormone, oxidative stress on the body. And I'm going to tell you how to mitigate all of those factors now so you actually get the highest amount of benefit possible. And it's actually different than what just the monks do, because the monks live on a pretty meager diet and their oxidative stress is much higher, even though they are in deeper levels of meditation and anti-aging based stress. So that helps to counteract that in some ways, but there are actually better ways. But again, they're not even doing it for anti-aging or longevity purposes. They're doing it for more spirituality. I say, great, use it for spirituality, but let's get all of it. Let's get the body transformation out from it. Let's get the health out of it. Let's get the anti-aging, the longevity as well. All right, so let's get into it right now. A monk fast is essentially a 36-hour fast. Now, right away, when you hear 36-hour fast, you're thinking that it's an incredibly long time to not eat. And I would say, yeah, I agree with you, right? And this isn't even talking about the daily nutritional support shakes or the functional medicine detox. We're just talking about a weekly, so once a week, okay, that's what we're talking about, a once a week 36-hour fast, not daily. Okay. I know it's obviously more than 24 hours, but we try in the West to always make these things like to maximize it. We're talking about once a week. Now, let me tell you, I've already given you some of the benefits, and believe me, the benefits are backed up by science. The science is truly amazing. For all of the science, you can actually tune into episode 1818. So, I'm going to make this really easy for you. If you go to stephencabral.com/1881, all of the show notes and links will be right there. So I have a whole category of podcasts. They're on iTunes now as well, and Spotify, etc., that you might not even know about. And it is just on intermittent fasting. So there's about 24 shows just on the science behind intermittent fasting, why intermittent fasting is not good for everyone. So who should not do it? What's the minimum amount of hours that you need to do? And then also in episode 1818, like I spoke about, the benefits you get from 12 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours, and 72 hours. So I go through all the different details, how often to do them. So I definitely want you to check that out. But again, all the show notes today will be at stevencabral.com/1881. All right. So really simple. But here's what you want to know. Like this, I'm going to give you the nuts and bolts of how this works. I'm going to put it all together for you and literally tell you exactly how I do it myself 3 out of 4 Mondays every single week. Okay. So, and I've been doing it now for a number of years, and it's gotten easier and easier every single year. It's like my body's adapted to it. Honestly, it's a really great thing to do. But what you want to know is that for most people, they're doing a 16-8. Like a lot of people are doing an intermittent fast at 16-8. And I keep telling people that 16 hours, like going to 16 hours is fairly arbitrary from 14 hours or 13 hours. It really is. It's a number that like we go to, but believe it or not, when you look at the science, like when you actually look at the research, your body will begin using more than just glucose at around it starts at a minimum of 16 to somewhere around 24 hours, typically said between 18 and 24 hours. So what does that even mean? Well, let me share it with you this way, is that your body is going to store about 100, some people 80, some people 120 grams of glycogen. So basically stored sugar inside of your liver. All right. And it takes you anywhere from, again, 16 hours to maybe 24 hours. Some people not for more than 48 hours to go through those glycogen reserves before they start using ketones and additional fatty acids and maybe even using something called gluconeogenesis as fuel. And let me break that down even, I would say, a little bit further. So our body runs through a process of what's called glycolysis, and it uses glycogen, it uses glucose essentially as fuel. And as I said before, your body stores anywhere from 24 to 72 hours worth of fuel inside of your liver. All right. And again, it uses that so that it regulates blood sugar. And I know that again, there's a lot of people out there saying, get your blood sugar as low as possible, as low as possible. That is not the goal. When your blood sugar starts to drop, your body goes into a fight or flight stress-based situation, which produces the HPA axis function, which helps the adrenal glands produce norepinephrine, or at least the excitatory part of that neurotransmitter, norepinephrine. It produces cortisol, which is a glucocorticoid that actually then signals your body to break down sugar from your liver or, believe it or not, muscle tissue as fuel for the body to bring up blood sugar normally, because you will die if your blood sugar gets too low. So these are important things to understand and note, because we can't mess with our body's physiology. We simply want to maximize it and optimize it. So that's glycogen, that's glycolysis, that's our fuel there. And again, as I said, somewhere around 16 to 18 hours, our body can start using ketones in addition to glucose. This is really a sweet spot for most people because the brain is feeling really good. It's functioning really well, good cognitive ability. Ketones can be used for some brain fuel as well, although it's still going to continue to use glucose. Ketones can be used for cellular cleanup in the body, and it can really signal greater levels of autophagy as well. So that's all cellular cleanup, bacteria, dying cells within the body, bacteria, cancer cells, etc. So that's a great part. And then there's also the body's ability to use gluconeogenesis, which is essentially a third process saying, okay, we don't have enough carbs, we don't have enough glycogen, we don't have enough sugar. What do we need to do if we're more of in a stress-based state? Remember this and keep this in mind. You don't want to be doing a longer fast in a stress-based state. Keep that in mind. I'll go over it a little bit more towards the end of the show. Really, really important, because you're doing yourself more harm than good. A lot of harm, actually. So with gluconeogenesis, your body can actually use non-carbohydrates. So I want you to, there's other processes in the body, but the easiest way to think about it is through amino acids. Amino acids are in all of your proteins. And then again, most foods have amino acids, but really what we're talking about is a protein-based food. Your beans, your meat, your eggs, your fish, poultry, anything like that is going to have a lot of amino acid base. And so basically what it uses is that carbon backbone, so amino acids with a carbon backbone, and it begins to convert those into part of our citric acid cycle. And again, you don't need to know any of this, but I know a lot of our IHPs have studied this inside of level 2. And what it means is that your body then can use that for energy. That's all that it means. It can produce ATP. You might have heard of that before. That's adenosine triphosphate. It's what allows our mitochondria to give us energy. And we want lots of energy, obviously, throughout the day. So believe it or not, your body can use protein to make carbohydrates or to make at least the end product of that. Always keep that in mind because there's a lot of people out there right now on higher protein, higher fat diets, but lower carb, and they believe they're getting the benefits of, let's say, getting into a lower state of ketosis or blood sugar, and they're typically not because they're eating 50 grams of protein at a meal, and that's just not going to do it. And it's actually quite detrimental to your body as well. So let's take it back one more step. If your body is in a state of stress, and it's in a state of, let's say, starvation, which is essentially not eating, you're not getting the benefits. So you're not getting as much of the cellular cleanup and all of that because you're getting drops in blood sugar, spikes in stress hormone, and your body's going to actually begin to break down muscle tissue for fuel. This is a really bad state. Now your metabolism's dropping. So hopefully now you can see why a lot of these intermittent fasts don't work because they're breaking the normal physiology of your body. And I talked about that. I'll link up a previous podcast, 2 big landmark research studies done on the 16-8 diet. And they showed that people lost muscle. So a lot of the weight loss was actually muscle unless they were doing something very, very specific. And again, I go through all of that on that show. So what I want to share with you is this then, is that to really maximize autophagy, fat loss, healthy levels of ketone production, and do it cyclically just once a week, you really want to get to 18 to 24 hours. So I've talked about my 1-day reset diet many, many times in the past. And I would love you to go back and check out that show because that's honestly the easiest. So I alternate between the 24-hour and the 36-hour monk fast. And I do this every single Monday. So I want to go through exactly why. Because at 18 hours, really a lot of that cellular cleanup begins. So I want to try to get the 18 hours once a week. Now, believe me, autophagy takes place even overnight while you're sleeping, even though it's not a 24-hour, 16-hour fast. So it's always happening, but you get greater cellular cleanup when you get to that 18-hour mark, really. And again, this is all science-based. I link it up on 1881 today. So it's also when your body's going to really start to tap into more adipose tissue, again, as long as you're not in a stressed state. And also, what is great about the 18-hour mark is that you're getting what's called mitochondrial apoptosis. And whenever you hear the word apoptosis, because I want you to always continue to up-level your health-based education, it is a programmed cell death within the body. So the weakest cells die off during apoptosis, and the older cells as well. It's programmed into our body. Believe it or not, that's how we age, or it's programmed. We're working right now in the field of anti-aging to say, how can we turn off the hard coding for aging? And it's probably not going to be one step, that's for sure, but it actually happens within this next step that happens at 24 hours of fasting, and that is autophagy on a much larger scale. And your fasting actually activates what's called AMPK signaling, which inhibits mTOR. So instead of the anabolism of building our body up, it actually starts to signal some breakdown. So it breaks down again the weakest cells for fuel, believe it or not. It actually uses your own body for fuel and energy. So when you combine exercise and you start to get this autophagy and fasting, you can actually create some amazing things within your body. But don't try to exercise on your fasting days, especially if it causes you high levels of stress, or if you haven't done fasting and tried this for at least a half a dozen times doing the 24-hour, 36-hour fast, do not recommend that. The last thing I'll share with you is this. There's a lot of talk in the news, and I've done a bunch of shows on Alzheimer's, dementia, even Parkinson's. And when I talk about a lot of these brain-related dementia-based disorders, and I know Parkinson's is neurological and it starts to work with dopamine, but again, it is happening within the brain as well. by doing a lot of these longer fasts, you're actually tapping into the body's ability to help regulate and remove plaque, bacteria, and help with overall, again, cellular cleanup. And that happens with the gray matter in your brain as well. So in Alzheimer's specifically, it helps remove a lot of those misfolded proteins. So that's an important one to remember, because that's going to help to get rid of a lot of the things that are going wrong in your body. All right. So hopefully I've impressed upon you the data of why you should be doing, in an ideal world, a 1 day a week reset diet, 24-hour diet, and maybe even a 36-hour diet. Let me explain to you why right now the 36-hour diet is not as wild and crazy as it may seem. So my 24-hour diet, I'm going to link up. It was a very popular show. Many people are doing it. Again, I do it 3 out of 4 Mondays a week, and sometimes I extend my 24-hour diet into a 36-hour. Let me break it down for you right now. Okay, so with a 36-hour, well, my 24-hour is this. At Sunday night, I stop eating after dinner, okay? I typically never have any food after dinner. There are rare occasions where I'm feeling really hungry and I know I'm going to get a drop in blood sugar a couple hours later because I just wasn't satiated enough from dinner. And that can happen on like a big exercise day, a big work day, a big travel day, but it's almost never. It's maybe, let's say, twice a month. Okay. But for the rest of the time, unless it's a cheat meal, flex meal, and then again, it's no holds barred on like a Saturday night, it's one meal, but there's probably dessert with that meal because I love dessert. And so does I'm thinking about it, like I love dessert, and so does my youngest daughter. So we're always looking forward to that night. But again, it's once a week. And I'm going to get to the cheat meal. It should not be the day before your fast in just a moment. But I go Sunday night, okay, a day of clean eating, Sunday night, and then I go until Monday night at dinner. So if you have a family like I do, it's really not difficult. So we have dinner together Sunday night. It's kind of our reset night. Girls have school the next morning. I'm getting to work. My wife's getting all the different things that she needs to do. So we're super busy. So good. All right, Sunday night, done. Now, Monday, all I need to do are the 3 DNS shakes that I talk about during my 1 day reset, or just water throughout the day. Hot water with even a little bit of lemon if you'd like. I'll talk about that in a moment as well. But basically, you're just doing water. That's all that it is. As your body needs water, you drink water. Okay, so that is it until Monday night at dinner. And then for a 24-hour, you can have dinner with your family again. So it's not that challenging, and you get tremendous benefit. And now the 36-hour would just say, okay, I'm going to skip dinner. I'm going to try to get to bed early, which is what I do on those nights. I'll get to bed at 9 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock because I'll be hungry. And then what I'll do is I'll wake up the next morning. I will have some, I do lime instead of lemon. So I'll do some lime like they do in Ayurveda. And I'll do some sea salt with that. So I break my fast with a little, what I call natural Gatorade, my sodium from the sea salt and my potassium from the lime. And I drink that down. I drink a nice 12-ounce glass. It's approximately 12 ounces. I'm not measuring that specifically, but my mason jar does basically tell me how many ounces of water that I'm drinking. And so that's refueling a lot of those electrolytes in there. It's kind of waking up my digestive system, which I like. And then when I do that next morning, so I've gone through all day Monday for that 24 hours, and now I wake up on Tuesday, and I've done my 36 hours. So that's all that there is to it, because if I stop eating at 6 o'clock Sunday night, and when I go to 6 o'clock Monday night, that's a 24 hours, so I could break it then, or I just need to do 12 more hours. That's really it, right? So all I have to do is go till 6 o'clock the next morning. And for me, I go to 8 o'clock every morning anyways until I have breakfast. So I typically do every single day of the week a 14-hour fast, 6 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock the next morning. It works great for my body. Once the stress starts around 8 a.m., work, stress, all those different things, I fuel my body. And I do it the same exact way on that Tuesday morning after the 36-hour. It's nothing crazy. I make a smoothie, which is really, really simple, right? I put in a cup of wild blueberries or a low glycemic berry. This is really, really nice. You can throw in some greens if you'd like. I do 2 scoops of my daily nutritional support powder. And then I'm typically adding a little bit of nut milk, but mainly just water. And you can add a little nut butter, whatever you choose to do. I want to share this with you though. The way that you do this right to break that fast is you add some protein. So do make sure that your breakfast has some protein, because you don't want to get a big spike then in blood sugar, and protein will help with the satiation as well, and then a drop down. So I do 2 things. I make my smoothie with a daily nutritional support powder, which has 15 grams of a vegan plant-based protein, hypoallergenic protein, all the amino acids my body needs, but I'm also time releasing that. So I drink my smoothie over the period of about an hour. That's typically to 90 minutes. Now I make a big smoothie. Mine has about 32 ounces when it's all said and done. So for me, like people are like, well, I just drink it down in 10 seconds. You can make a bigger one, okay? And you can just kind of dilute it. That's what I do. So it allows me to get my water requirements as well, along with the smoothie. So it's honestly, it's very, very simple. I'll drink 12 ounces right away. Like I'll drink 12 ounces really quick. And then 45 minutes later or so, 40 minutes later, I could drink another 12 ounces, but typically I don't. I just drink a good amount right away. And then I just slowly drink the rest of it over the next hour or so. It's super simple. I just take it to work and that's how I do it. So that's the easiest and best way to break that fast, because it's also easy on your digestive system. And remember, you haven't eaten for the last 36 hours. So it's a great way to do it. How does this also help with fat loss and weight loss? Well, think about this. We've done this with quite a number of weight loss clients that really don't like any type of restrictive eating. Think about this. If you are going one full day without eating, like let's say you go Sunday night to Monday night, the problem with Monday night is that a lot of people overeat. So let's say I eat, 2,700 calories a day. I might be starving, and I'm using that in air quotes because you're not technically starving, but let's say I'm starving, I'm famished by Monday night. I might eat 2,000 plus calories at that meal. That's not difficult for a lot of people to do. They just overeat. They make up all their calories in that one meal. It's not good. Big stress in the digestive system, not healthy for your body, not healthy for sleeping that night. You probably have a lower HRV, lower deep sleep, lower REM. So that's not ideal. So when you do a 24-hour fast, you really just want to have a normal dinner. That's really, really important. Maybe you break it with a piece of fruit and a half hour to an hour before dinner, like an apple, let's say, and then you go ahead and you have your dinner an hour later. Maybe that'll help satiate you a little bit more because there's a little bit of that sweet there as well. But when you're doing the 36-hour, you actually miss a day of calories. So if you just go then to a normal day of eating that next day, amazing. You just subtracted all of those calories. That may help you lose, even if you don't change anything else in your diet. You just go normal diet as you always have. That might help you lose a pound a week ongoing. So it's a great way, but also it does much more than that because it helps with hormones and healthy levels of blood sugar and inflammation, so much more. So think about that. I can't recommend enough trying this at least because it has health benefits. It has fat loss benefits. It has brain benefits. It has anti-aging benefits. It has mitochondrial benefits. Start with the 24-hour. Once you get good at that, then you can do the 36. And again, it's like you're asking me, well, how do you do 20? Like, when do you know if you're doing 24 or 36? I see how I feel that day. All right. That's what I do. I see how I feel. I don't force my body to do it. Now you can for health reasons, but I don't. And if I'm like, yeah, I'm not that bad right now, Monday night at dinner, I sit down with my family, I pour myself a nice glass of Pellegrino water, squeeze a little bit of lime in there if I choose to, a little bit of sea salt, and I have dinner with them. And I explain to my daughters the reasons why I'm doing this fast. They don't do it as a child, but they can do it when they get to an adult, and we have a healthy conversation about it. And then they've seen me do it enough, so it's not really a big deal with the functional medicine detoxes that we do each quarter. Then I just have breakfast again the next morning. They see me eat breakfast. So it's like it's a healthy way to also communicate with the family. And so again, I see how my body feels, and that's when I do it. Now, one more tip I'll say to you is that I don't want you to exercise if you're not used to doing a 24-hour fast during the 24-hour fast. Eventually, you can exercise when you're doing the fast, but you just need to make sure that your body's accustomed to it, because you could go really hypoglycemic or high stress hormone on your body with exercising and fasting. If your body's not ready for it, massive amounts of oxidative stress. Now, no matter what I said, your body's going to create some oxidative stress the next day, which is why I told you I'd give you one more tip. The day before you do your fast, do not make it a cheat day. No alcohol, no fried foods, okay? And you actually want to get more antioxidants in the day before, because those antioxidants will be able to be used the next day to help with oxidative stress during fasting. So I do my normal daily foundational protocol level 2 or level 3 every single day anyways, and that contains the daily fruit and vegetable blend, which is 22 organic fruits and vegetables, superfoods, all mixed into one. But you also want to get in your 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables that day before. All of that will help, along with some good vitamin C, etc. All of that will help that next day with oxidative stress. So hopefully today's podcast was helpful. I know it was a lot, but it won't be the only podcast that I do again on this topic. Definitely stay tuned for future shows. And again, for all my previous anti-aging intermittent fasting shows, head on over to stevencabral.com/1881. That's today's show notes page, where I will link up all the previous shows. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing day, and I will talk with you soon. Before you go, I have to share with you a brand new debut, something that I've been working on for the last 8 months. You know that it takes a lot of work to create new formulations and new products because of our high commitment to excellence in the industry. Simply put, we want to make sure that we third-party test all of our ingredients, and they're always bringing you the very best of the best. This is no different, and this has been something that has been requested for quite some time, and that is there something that my kids and I can eat that is a guilt-free, healthy treat? So with that in mind, we literally went and created a dark chocolate superfood bar. So with this, you are not only getting all of the benefits of dark chocolate, of organic dark chocolate, of course, but you're also getting these superfood benefits. That means all of the bioflavonoids or the flavanols from raspberry, cherry, and apple. And if I had to give you a specific flavor, it tastes like a cherry raspberry chocolate bar. It is absolutely delicious. I have been tasting these along with my wife for about the last 6 months since they've been in production. We've been trying out different flavor batches, and I can tell you this, they are absolutely delicious. And one of the best parts is that they are a guilt-free treat. These are all organic, and one of the great things about it is that they are tested for pesticides, they are tested for molds, they are tested for other issues that a lot of other bars might contain. We make sure that all of our bars are third-party tested for that. The other nice thing is that they are only 90 calories. So instead of giving you a big chocolate bar, which we all know can be taken down in one sitting, we wanted to prepackage these. So these are just the perfect amount for a guilt-free treat. Whether you're enjoying it after a workout or whether you're enjoying it after dinner, it's 90 calories. And when we look at that, we can say, if you were even just to split that, if you chose to, with a partner, your spouse, whoever you're enjoying a dinner with, you're taking it down to 45 calories. So in my opinion, this is one of the best ways, really one of the best ways to enjoy your dark chocolate mixed with superfoods and feel good about it. So check it out right now over at equi.life. That's EQUI.LIFE. I'm super excited about this. For one, my wife loves them, and I love to be able to create products that my wife will use as well. My kids love them, of course, because they're chocolate, and of course, I enjoy them just the same. Now, I always, whenever possible, it's not always possible, but whenever possible, I love to be able to get these to you free, and that's exactly what we're doing. Limited time offer and limited number of boxes. We are literally giving these away, a free box over $149. So any qualifying purchase over at equi.life, over $149, we're actually going to ship you a full box free. So head on over, enjoy these new dark chocolate superfood bars, all organic, of course, and tested for mold as well as pesticides. Head on over to equi.life to get your free box while supplies last.